Do you ever hear yourself saying, it should be different? It should not happen that way. That word should is an important distinction because what it does is it's telling me that someone's living in their fantasy and not their reality. So the best example of this comes actually through showing through relationships. But these show up everywhere. It shows up in your health, your work, your family, your money, your life. But let's take a look at a relationship to give the example. So I was talking with a friend recently and she said, I want the marriage. I want the marriage to work. But she didn't tell me she wanted him. No judgment. I did the same thing. And that's what made me so aware of it. When I was in my young 20s, I was getting married. I had some issues. I went to a counselor. He said, tell me about Doug. And I listed them all down. And he says, okay, you're going to be in my office in 1 to 3 months wondering what's wrong with your marriage. And I was like, what? No, he's a great guy. And he is a great guy. But I didn't mention connection, attraction, love. All of those things were missing from that relationship. And so this is my example for you. And the truth is, fantasy feels comforting because it stays in your head. Reality is what you're facing. You don't need advice to know when something is off. Your body already knows. Here's another quick example. I was staying at a Airbnb with a Victorian bathtub, and oh, it looks so great, just like it did on Maverick. And I took a bath in it. It was awesome. I went to take a shower. Not so much. The fantasy did not meet the reality. And if I had pretended it should work like a modern shower, I would have been exhausted, right? And that's how blocks work. When life keeps feeling harder than it needs to be, it's not because you're broken, it's because something you're expecting doesn't match what's real. That's misalignment. So the work isn't really fixing your relationship or your job or your body. The work is noticing when you're attached to how things should be instead of responding to what is. Because awareness is reset. Choice is the reinvention. And when the block is seen, alignment returns naturally. So let's sum it up like this. Clarity is the reset. Choice is reinvention. And realizing you're not broken, you're blocked, is where real healing begins. Pay attention to those shoulds. Pay attention to what reality is in front of you and what the fantasy is in your mind that you want it to be, because there's two types of people. There's people who are going to keep their fantasy and find people that support them in it, or the fantasy you realize needs to meet the reality you are living in. So I'm Eileen. I'll see you next time on Love to Live.